The Case of Roland Doe, 1949, Maryland. In 1949, in the suburbs of Maryland, a story that seemed almost impossible unfolded for a family who, until that moment, believed in little beyond what they could see. It was an ordinary house on a quiet street, where the residents expected nothing more than a peaceful family life. But one spring night, the Doe family's routine was shattered forever. What happened in that house would go down in history as one of the most disturbing and well-documented cases of demonic possession ever recorded. The arrival of the Ouija board. It all began with Roland's aunt, a woman who had been a constant presence in his life. She was a devoted practitioner of spiritualism and spent long afternoons with young Roland, teaching him about the unseen world. Among the many things she introduced him to was the Ouija board, a tool that, she claimed, allowed communication with spirits from beyond. Roland, a normal 14-year-old boy, was intrigued but also uneasy. His aunt, though loving, had a deep fascination with the supernatural. She encouraged him to use the board regularly, insisting it would help him understand the spiritual world. For a time, he played with it, asking questions without much seriousness. But after her aunt passed away, strange things began to happen. At first, they were subtle objects slightly out of place, faint footsteps echoing in empty hallways, a cold breeze blowing through closed windows. The onset of strange phenomena marks the moment when the ordinary world begins to fragment, giving way to disturbing events that defy explanation. Shortly after the funeral, Roland began hearing unexplained noises at first, faint scratches along the walls, then soft whispers echoing through the darkness of the house. He felt as if something was watching him distant, yet always present. At night, the sounds grew louder, cracks, knocks on the walls and ceiling. Unexplained phenomena started occurring throughout the house. His parents, bewildered, assumed it was grief or an emotional reaction to the loss. Soon, Roland's behavior began to change in more obvious ways. At night, he would rise from bed and walk the halls, his expression blank, as if in a trance. The house, once warm and welcoming, now felt strange and menacing. The knocks, growing louder and more regular, became part of the daily routine, as if some presence wandered the corridors. Roland soon began exhibiting behaviors that no one could explain. One night, he woke with a piercing scream, his eyes wide in terror, unable to speak. His parents rushed to his room. There he stood, staring at a corner as if he saw something or someone. Then, in a voice that was not his own, he whispered,
"It's here. He is here."
The search for answers, desperate and unsure who to turn to, Roland's parents sought medical help. They took him to several doctors and psychologists, but no physical cause was ever found. There was no scientific explanation for the symptoms, no illness, no diagnosis. Yet things only got worse. One of the most intense nights, the family heard a loud crash from upstairs. When they went to investigate, Roland's room was in complete disarray. Furniture had been moved, and the bed, once stationary, was now in the center of the room, as if some unseen force had lifted and repositioned it. The parents were in shock, unable to comprehend what they were seeing. Roland's mother, at a loss, began considering a supernatural explanation. She remembered the Ouija board and felt that something dark had been unleashed by it. In the following days, Roland displayed an inhuman strength. One afternoon, he was found thrashing violently, muscles taut with a force that seemed impossible for a teenager. He began speaking in a strange language, one no one in the family understood. At one point, in a deep, guttural voice, he shouted, "I am Vala. He is coming." It was as if a malevolent force had taken control of him. The arrival of the priests desperate, the parents turned to spiritual help. A priest from a local parish was also called. He tried to bless the house and pray over Roland, but the situation only worsened. The boy resisted in ways that seemed supernatural, as if possessed by a force unwilling to leave. Experienced priests were then summoned. Two Catholic priests, who had dealt with similar cases before, arrived at the house. They found Roland in extreme agitation, exhibiting violent and inexplicable behavior. The knocks and bangs continued, growing stronger. During the exorcism, Roland writhed uncontrollably, his body seemingly beyond human limits. At one of the most terrifying moments, he levitated in his bed, floating above the floor, screaming in incomprehensible words. The priests recited the exorcism prayers as the boy, now monstrously strong, contorted in what seemed like endless agony. He shouted,
"I'm violent, I will not leave."
The final moments of the exorcism lasted several weeks, with sessions taking place late at night. In one critical moment, after hours of torment, Roland finally calmed. The priests believed the demon had been expelled. They left the house, and Roland apparently recovered. The family, though relieved, never spoke of what truly occurred within those walls again. Roland never publicly discussed the events. He grew up living a quiet, private life. Yet the testimony of the priests and the events in that house remain some of the most documented cases of demonic possession in history. The legacy of Roland Doe. The case of Roland Doe was never fully explained. Some believe he was possessed by a powerful demon, like Valak. Others suggest he suffered from a mental illness that was misinterpreted as possession. Either way, the case and the priest's accounts became the inspiration for The Exorcist, one of the most iconic possession stories in popular culture. Even today, the details of Roland Doe's case remain confidential, with names changed to protect privacy. But what happened in that house, and what the priests witnessed during the exorcism, continues to haunt those who have heard the story.